You're the one in front of the camera. So it's like, if you don't feel good, it's going to show on camera. So I'm like, it's a team sport. So you just got to make sure everyone's on the same page and it's not a hostile environment, because it doesn't work good for anybody.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks so much for being here. This is Get Scene Unscripted, and I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. I'm excited to be diving into a really cool episode with someone who was first introduced on our sister show, Talent Agent Talk, with host Jason Lockhart. If you haven't watched that, be sure to check it out. It is actor and good buddy of mine, Ben VanderMey.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Glad that you're here. And,
yeah, for sure.
And, dude, I mean, if you haven't watched Ben's booking episode talking about Will Trent on Talent Agent Talk, go back onto YouTube, check it out. It was badass and just really, really cool. And I want to dive into some things. But the first thing I want to talk about is because you had an incredible role on Fight Night. You were like opposite Don Cheadle. Like honestly, dude, did you get that? And were you like, holy shit?
Yeah. I was pretty pumped because it was kind of like what I've been not chasing, but kind of like trying to bring about in my career. The next thing, like someone corrupt, manipulative, and intelligent, and he fit all those parts. And so it was spot on to where I wanted to go with it. I didn't know who. I knew like Sam Jackson was in it, Don Cheadle, Taraja, Kevin Hart, but I didn't really know what I was.
Right.
You know, from the audition, like the audition wasn't even in the show. So once I got it, it was cool. Jason was pumped. He always pumps me up, so it was cool. And then getting there.
He's great at that, right?
Yeah, man. Like sometimes I'm not excited, and then once he calls me, I'm like, okay. I'm like, he's a good guy to have in your corner for sure.
Dude, he's gonna get you amped.
Yeah, he does, because he's more excited than me half the times. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Yeah, it's like 5 lines. He's like, but it's the biggest show in the fucking world. I'm like, yeah. I was like, all right, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So Fight Night was cool, man. Working with all those guys like Don Cheadle was really cool. Don was actually my favorite to work with out of everybody. He's so cool, man, like calm and collected. And just watching him work was awesome. The first day I met him was kind of crazy. This whole show was kind of crazy, dude, because when the cast is that big, you know, and then, I mean, I'm, like 17, 18 on the call sheet, but out of 120 characters. So there's like a lot of scheduling conflicts and stuff that were going on. First day of shooting, I was in the gym because they told me they didn't need me that day. It was like the fight, the boxing match. And I was like just going to be in the background, and I had like a couple lines with Don, and they're like, all right, we're cutting that scene. You're not coming in. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm at the gym working out. 2:00, they call me like, hey, we need you actually today. I was like, okay, like when? They're like right now. I was like, all right, well, I got to take a shower because I stink. And so I took a shower, come to work, and I'm like in the trailer for like 6 hours just chilling. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I don't have a script. I don't have a scene. It's like, I don't know why I'm here.
Dang.
And so like I opened the door to get some air, and like Don's sitting over on the trailer next to me, and he's outside too, and he's playing cards. And he's like, oh, yo, man, what's up, man? I was like, what's up, Don? He's like, you ready for our scene? And I was like, nah. Well, no, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? And he's like, oh, dude, we're about to go do a scene right now. And I was like, who? And he's like, me and you. I was like, no. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh shit. So I go to the AD's door, and I'm like banging on the door. I'm like, yo, do I have a scene? She's like, yeah. I was like, can I have it? And then, so like as I'm walking the set, this is a scene with like Don Cheadle, Kevin Hart, Samuel Jackson, all there. And I'm getting my lines walking there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was like, that was like the first time I met them all. And I'm trying to be like present, but I'm also like trying to learn these lines on the fly. And then cut to like a couple months later, I was working with Don again, and I see him, and we got this big interrogation scene where I'm like, if you watch the show, it's like we're in the basement, and I'm always beating somebody up, but I'm beating somebody up. And he's got like this whole monologue, and then I have like an argument between. So it's like you're going off on me, and then I go off on you. But then he's like, I saw him like reading his lines and stuff, and I'm like, bro, like, are you just now learning your lines? And he's like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, you can do it like that? And he's like, yeah, yeah. I was like, oh man, I'm getting better, but this is a whole other side subject. But I'm like, man, just doing that on the fly like that would terrify me, because I'm like, my whole thing is like preparation and like coming in. I don't feel free unless I'm prepared and I don't have to think about my lines. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I was like, but how aren't you worried about messing up? Like, aren't you worried about looking like dumb like everyone else is, you know? And he's like, nah, dude, like, you just do it again. And I was like, wow, dude. I was like, that's cool. Because everyone puts like so much, and I used to be like this. I didn't even start having fun acting till like 3 years ago, to be honest. I hated it because I would put so much pressure. And I thought like if I messed up and looked stupid in front of everyone, it'd be the end of me. And like people put so much pressure on that, and to have like to hear it from him, and then like my journey now to where I'm at, it's actually becoming fun because it's a very serious job, but it's not life and death. And it's like, you know, if you flub, you flub and you move on. That's not the goal. But like, man, I used to work under so much stress. It was not fun because I couldn't connect to anybody, and because I was worried about myself. So like seeing how he did it, like that's my goal, is to be more like him, but in a balanced way. You know, like he's been in the game for forever, and his exposure to working on sets like that are way higher than mine.
Right.
So obviously he's gonna be in a different journey than me, and I'm in a different journey than someone else. But like coming from where I was terrified of failure to coming up to where I am now of accepting and more focusing on being connecting, and then seeing him, I'm like, oh, I have somewhere I have so much more I can go. So that was cool, man.
Hey, actors, let me grab your attention for a quick moment because our incredible 3-day event is coming up. This is one of my favorite events of the entire year, the Southeast Actor Summit. And you probably already know that Atlanta is the heart of the Southeast, but the entire Southeast market really is one of the best markets that you could be diving into. And if you're not already working in this market, you probably should. There's so many opportunities. And so this is a great way to dive in. We bring in some of the best instructors here in Atlanta to help guide you and move you forward in your craft, while also including different agents and casting directors, so you can truly get that behind the scenes peek at how to move your journey and your career forward. So I really hope you'll join us. There's more information in the description, so check that out. But if you truly want to not only work in the Southeast, but thrive here in the Southeast, this is a must attend event, period. So I hope to see you there, the Southeast Actor Summit. I love that. That's a badass story, man. And yeah, I think if Don messes up a line, they're like, well, it's all right, it's Don, right? You know, but maybe not as much with you. But you know, if you're experienced on set, if you mess up a line, you just start again. Like that's why the editor is there. You talk about having that type of freedom. Is there what's your plan? Like, how are you gonna do that? Like, is it I'm gonna memorize my lines less, or how are you gonna try to be more in the moment and really take that lesson and apply it, or have you already? And what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point now where it's down. Like, say you hire me for a movie, and first thing I'll do is look through it and like highlight the lines. I don't even read it. I just highlight it first because I like to see like how much I'm working with, and then from there I can honestly like pretty much assign a number to it. I'm like, it used to be 100, so like everything I did I would read 100 times before I worked. And that would be like, if I did it 100 times, my subconscious is like, oh, you know this, like you're good.
You did it 100 times.
Yeah. But now, like, you know, as you go on, like where Don is, he just does it in the rehearsal. But I'm like, I don't have that much trust yet. But I'm like, my trust is good. Like the shoot I did Saturday, George Pierre put me on a project. And, you know, it was more like, it was more like lines in between guy's monologue, but I had like, 5 lines, and I'm like, okay, like learning to trust yourself and just like knowing the number or whatever you need to do before you get there to know that like you're not going to be sidetracked of thinking of your lines. So like even if I have a script of monologue, I'll get to the point where if I do it 100 times and I still don't feel confident, I'll do it 100 times, juggling balls. And if I can do that and do my lines, like it's subconscious at that point. And I also start early. Like as soon as I get the script, you start, because the longer you have with it, the more it can get in your long-term memory.
Yep.
And when it's in my long-term memory, it's like you don't have to go looking for it because it's in there. Short-term memory, though, is when you kind of have to keep putting it in front of your mind, which happens, and like if you get your lines on the way to set, it's going to be your short-term memory. You don't have enough time. So for those, like to keep me calm, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be present, but right before they say action, I'm going to check in with myself. I'm like, okay, where, and then boom, 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 and then action, like, oh, you put it in the front. So I would say start early, and then through failing, you're going to figure out the process that works, so you don't do that anymore.
I love that you brought up failing. So do you look at failing as, I don't know if you want to call it a blessing, but it's like you to get to the big successes, you got to fail. Like you're not just going to get to successes. So, I mean, how do you embrace failure, since you brought that up? I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. My relationship with failure has changed. So I'm not afraid of it anymore, which is cool. Because that's when I started working a lot. Because, like, I can tell in other people's auditions or even in a scene if they're being like, if they're insecure, or there's a confidence with like embracing failure that is, you can see, it's like palpable. Like a casting director in your audition can see if you're nervous or not. And it's the separator, man. Like you got to change your relationship with it. The biggest failure, it wasn't even a failure, but I got a direct offer for Loki, and I was doing like 6 auditions that week, and I had a table read for another Marvel show, and I was like shooting in like 3 days, and I was like, oh, this is only like 5 lines. I was like, I can look at this like the night before. And I went to set, and when you get lines where it's like, usually for me, it's like a lawyer or a doctor where the words aren't familiar and they don't stick.
Right, yeah.
Those are the hardest. Like if it's the guy talking like the way Jesse talks, it's like, yeah, I can memorize this in like 2 minutes. But if it's something like you're not used to saying, it's like, oh shit.
It doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So I waited too long, man. And then I was on set, and it's like a giant set, man. It's like this huge Marvel set. And it's like this big train station they built. And then I just felt really unimportant, dude. Like no one came up and talked to me. Like the director, I didn't know who the director was because no one said anything. And like when you're a co-star, it can feel very like shit. Like you're not that important. Like, and then you're like, you have nobody like there was no one to tell me what to do. There's no one introducing them to me. And they're like, just stand here and do your shit. And I'm like, well, I don't even know like what I'm doing. Like, and so it was very uncomfortable. And then I didn't know and then my lines just weren't sticking. So like, dude, the amount of like anxiety and shit that I had in my chest was like terrible. I got through it and I didn't even mess up, but like, I just was not confident at all. Like I wasn't confident. I was uncomfortable. Like I felt like I was not important, and I never wanted to feel like that again. So then I was like, straight up called my therapist or whatever. And I was like, we got some shit we got to work on. And I was like, all right. So like from that feeling of like, dude, it was a very like disgusting feeling. Like it was weird. It's like a nasty hangover you can't get rid of. It's like, why did I feel like that? It was like so bad. And then I was like, we gotta figure out a way that never happens again. And then through that, it was like, what do we gotta do? All right, we gotta start early. Start as soon as you get the shit. At least highlight it so you know what you're working with. And then make a plan for where you show up and you're like ready to go and confident, because nothing's worse than showing up on a shoot and feeling insecure and not knowing what you're doing. And so now I go into everything I do, whether it's co-star or top of show, as the main character. I'll walk in there like as prepared, so I'm not worried about it, but I also walk in with the energy. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give a main character performance. This isn't like, and then if they don't treat me good, like now, if no one comes up and talk to me, I'm like, who's the director here? Like, let me bring him up. Like, I have balls now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's scary when you're a co-star on a huge set, you know, even like when I did Fantastic Four, like the director never spoke to me. He sent like an assistant and told me my scene got canceled and to go home. And I'm like, I never want to feel like small. And I feel like so many people, you can get excited. Like some people say there's no small roles, but there are like you open the door and say, welcome. Like that could be your fucking role on a TV show. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean you have to feel small. And so I'm like, I got to stop thinking small. And even if like now it's like every audition, I'm like, I'm going to bring the main character to this take because that's who I am. And I want to be respected as a main character. And I want people to see me as a main character. And honestly, the Loki, man, I felt it was a pretty terrible feeling. And I'm like, I'm never going to do that again. But without it, I would have not talked to my guy and we would not have come up with what we have now.
Right. Well, dude, I mean, thank you for being so open and vulnerable. I think everything you're saying is like super beautiful, right? In the sense of like, yes, like you can go on set and you can feel that shitty feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you know, I love that you're standing up for yourself, saying like, I'm not going to go through that again. Easier said than done, right? So what actions did you take to be able to get beyond that, to have the confidence to be like, who's the director, right? Because it's easy to just say that, right? But to really go and own it, what did you do to really be able to embody that and be like, yes, I'm bringing some of that lead character energy, even if maybe I'm not, and I'm not, it doesn't mean I'm stepping on toes or anything like that, right? Trying to make something bigger than it is, but like, I'm not going to feel small. Like, what work did you do?
Dude, I just trained, man. I guess a lot of people say like your toolbox, like, you know, you go to acting classes and you learn shit. I would never stay with one person. I would work with somebody up to like 4 years and then I would bounce and I would like worked with so many different people and came up with like so many different tools to put in my box. And then I've read hundreds of books on, dude, I'm an obsessive compulsive person, dude. So like I'm like all in or like not. So like if I do something, it's going to be like, I'm going to get after it and do it. So I like read hundreds of books on like psychology, and then started working with a guy about mindset, and then just taking different classes and learning different techniques. But at the end of the day, what gives you confidence is like doing what you need to do, like going after what's uncomfortable, because like I found things that made me uncomfortable and I did them. I also had teachers that would push me to do things that were uncomfortable, like shit that I don't even want to talk about because it was kind of weird. But
that sounds like an acting class.
Yeah. But it was it's just always, you know, like for instance, like one summer it was slow and I would go on all my friends' Actors Access and steal their auditions, like the scripts, and I would find the hardest ones that I thought were scary, and I would do those. I would practice them, and like I would have whoever was with me at the time tape me. But it's like not sending the audition anywhere. I'm just like proving to myself I can do it. David Goggins talks about like having a cookie jar. I don't know if like, so like every time you do something, you put like the cookie in the cookie jar. So it's like, you know, this experience, like, you know, Loki, okay, we have that. We got through it. We didn't die. And then, oh, this was a really good experience. Put that in there. All these experiences in the cookie jar that you've experienced to the point where like now when I walk on set, like if I need confidence, I can look through here and I can even like put the memory on the wall and like look like, hey bro, we did like 20 episodes on this show. We've done top of show on this show. We've done this. So if I need any energy or confidence, I'm like, look at what we've already done. But to get the cookies in the jar, you have to go through like uncomfortability. And
Yes.
like so many people are comfortable and think that, you know, you hanging out in the class with your buddies doing some stupid ass improv shit is gonna make you $1 million. You got to get out and you got to like get in front of a camera and like fail. And like, I was talking to Jason because it's hard for kids now, man. It's so hard to get an agent now. I'm like, man, it's really hard. And I'm like, I honestly, and it's like a catch-22. Like you to get an agent, you have to have a resume, you have to have a demo reel. But like, how do you get that if you don't have an agent?
Right.
And so then I'm thinking back, like, you know, like Florida, where we're from. I'm like, I would force myself to do like student films and like hustle, dude. We never stop hustling.
Dude, we
That's the
hustled
thing.
like crazy. Yeah.
So it's like you gotta go find the shit because it's not gonna come to you. I mean, I'm actually kind of in a good place right now because I feel like with the body of work I have, I am now finally gonna just get stuff offered. And I'm like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah. You, I mean, dude, so many things. I mean, you talked about, I love the cookie jar. You know, you're really just talking about controlling your state. You know what I mean? Making sure you understand that if you're going to show up on set or show up to an audition, being in a confident state, you got a better shot, right? And so you look in that cookie jar, you take different stories, different accomplishments, things that you've achieved, and you put it on the wall, like you said.
Yeah.
Super smart. I mean, that's what you got to do. And I teach that as well. Like getting yourself in a good state, you have to.
Yeah. I mean, like if you get, you know, if you go to a conference and you're about to speak to people and you get nervous, be like, hey, look, we did this massive thing in LA. We did this thing in Atlanta. We've done this hundreds of times. Trust the process. And then you're like, if you're at the point where we are now, like we've got a pretty good process for what we do and we make a living for it. So it's like, but that took a long time.
Long
dude.
time, yeah.
Dude, I moved here similar to when you did, and it's been a long time, bro.
It's been a long time, dude. It's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, you were, yeah, I mean, some of it is a blur, but I remember it was like me, Hakeem, and Aaron were like the first like 3 people. But I mean, yeah, you were like, I don't know how many months behind us.
Yeah, it wasn't too far.
It wasn't too far, yeah. But yeah, I've been at it since 2012, 2013, like really grinding. And that's before everything was really self-taped. So we were on the bus to New Orleans and all that stuff.
Yeah, those were tough times, dude.
Dude, so again, I brought up the Will Trent story that you talked about on Talent Agent Talk, and you know, go back and watch that episode, everybody. But to summarize it quickly, you were doing a super intense commercial shoot, then you had to go into a callback. You were playing like this military guy, doing all these monologues, doing this big shoot, then had to go do the callback. I find that happens a lot within the industry, that you have to all of a sudden you're juggling nothing, and then you have to juggle everything.
Yeah.
How do you how are you able to do that and succeed? You know, do it at a high level. Like for me, at least, I'm like, I think I thrive under pressure, right? Like that, like I get more amped up. I'm like, yes, make it that, like, you know, my car broke down, the flight changed, and I still have to get to LA to do, you know what I mean? Like stack the deck against me and I'm going to figure it out. Like I thrive under that. But like, is there any kind of process or anything that you have with like, I got to be able to do all of this and putting it all in a specific maybe order or amping yourself up or whatever it might be?
I kind of just think about like what I can do, you know, like what I can control. And then if it's possible, it's possible. And then you also have to get your team involved, you know, because you don't want everything. And like, you got to use your people, I think is very important for that kind of stuff. Like use your agents, you're paying them, and your manager for a reason. You know what I mean? So like, if I would have committed to the audition and try to plan it out by myself, I think it would have stressed me out. But I had Jason and and Julie working with me to communicate with both the shoot I was on and the shoot that I was trying to do a callback with. So that takes a lot of like the personal pressure off, but I still had to make it there on time and stuff, which is like, I try not to worry about that till the time comes, and then you're like, I gotta fucking go, bro. And that happened. So like, I think like if you can get someone to agree on something, like we were like, hey, Ben needs to be out at 7, and they're like trying to go over, be like, no, we had a deal, and like, it's kind of like being the main character, like you have a voice and like you have power, and you are the talent, and it's like they can't shoot without you, but it's also like you can't abuse that. So it's really helpful to have someone in your corner to make it like less stressful. But then there's also times where it's not feasible. Like for 6888, I had a call back for one of the main military guys, and it's a dope role, and it shoots in like London and stuff. But I was shooting Will Trent, and if I didn't go to LA for the table read was the callback, Tyler Perry was there and everything. They're like, if you can't make the callback, you're not going to be in the movie. Like you're just not. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was on hold and stuff for Will Trent the next day when I was supposed to be there. And we were trying to my manager was trying to work it out. We were trying to work it out to where I could go. And it just like, I can't, man, because like I'm on Will Trent. Like I can't, I'm working. Like I cannot go. Like it's not going to work. And that was stressful trying to make it work. But I was like, sometimes it's not going to work. And so you got to be okay with that too. Like my thing is like, if it doesn't kill you, it's not that scary. So I'm like, I'm already working, which is cool. It sucks that I can't do both. But a lot of times you're right. Everything comes at once. And it's actually a good problem. Yeah. It's stressful because you want to do everything. But then you also have to think about like who you committed to and who you gave your word to. And that comes into a lot.
I think keeping the mindset of like, you want to stay away from the scarcity mindset, and if you're on a job and then there's another job, obviously you want it really bad, but you have to be able to, like you did, potentially like let it go. But if you can't, it's because you're in the scarcity mindset, meaning you don't think another project's going to come. You're like, well, I have to get everything I can right now. But I think that's probably why you work so much. Like, that another job is coming, So it's like, I couldn't do that one. I mean, I want to, but if I can't, like, there's another one. I know that there is.
Yeah, and the fact is, like, dude, I couldn't do the 6888, but then they, like, a month later, they just gave me a part. I was like, all right, cool. So I got it anyways. So sometimes when it doesn't work out, it can still work out.
Yeah.
Because if they want you, they're going to try to make it work. Mm-hmm. You might not get what you wanted, though. But it's better than nothing.
It wasn't the big military role, right?
Yeah, but I had a cool scene, so it was good.
Nice. Dude, we've heard already like so many different stories from you on set. Is there one that like sticks out to you that we haven't heard already of like maybe it was a big lesson or a proud moment? A moment you were really proud of yourself with your big resume that you have, man?
I think the biggest lesson is what I was talking about with Loki, because that was like the game changer for my mindset and like working through that. It was my least favorite, but it was probably the biggest lesson because I haven't repeated that since then. And I'm like, and since then I enjoy acting because I can like be there with somebody and talk to them and connect with them and not think about my lines. Like, like when you first starting out, you just run that shit in your head. And then you're just disconnected. So the biggest thing for me is like being able to connect with people now, like talking to the directors and seeing like their vision and everyone's vision and being like present. Being present has been a big thing, man. Like just being mindful and then like enjoying the moment. That's been cool. And then I have a movie coming out, I don't know, in 10 days or something. It's called Back in Action. It's with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx.
On Netflix.
So I get fucked up by Cameron Diaz, so that was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Seeing her, man, she came out of retirement for the movie. So being able to work with her, then that was like right when Jamie got his... And he was back. So I was like, that was a pretty cool experience, man. And then like having, you can watch the movie. But yeah, just getting beat up by Cameron Diaz was pretty cool because that was like very recent. And then I also learned when you're working with a celebrity that you've grown up watching, don't tell them that you grew up watching, like grew up to them, because it makes them feel old.
Oh, right.
She hated that, dude. I never saw. I did not say it, but several people, I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah, you saw it happen.
Yeah, I was like, she's like, God, I feel so fucking old now. I was like, yeah, all right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Dude, you brought up the Loki thing again, and I just want to go back to it for 1 second because I think so many people from the outside miss that like people are going through shit. And I think if you look at your story from the like outside looking in, you're like, oh my God, Ben got an offer for Loki, right? At the time, Loki was like the first Marvel Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
So it was like everyone wanted to get on it, right? Like, oh my God, how lucky. It must have been the best. Like they see it as this huge, unbelievable trophy, not understanding that like go on set and essentially treated like shit, you know, and ignored and have all this anxiety and it just it was not this like beautiful picture. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's just important for outsiders to remember that it's like, you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? And
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could book the biggest movie in the world and then they throw you in a honey wagon for 12 hours and tell you they're not going to get to your scene and go home. Like, it happens, bro. Like, that's why my mentality is like, where I am now is like, I'm going after main character stuff. I'm like, I'm giving out that energy no matter what. And I think, I think it's just, man, like when you really get the confidence to just stand up for yourself, everything changes because people view you differently. I remember even the movie we did, dude, Ulog, man. Like, I don't do well when people yell at me, like at all, or tell me what to do. I could never do the military, dude, because I'd be like, fuck you. But anyways, I remember like, it was like my first day. It was like the Thanksgiving dinner scene, and they actually told me I was wrapped, and I was like going home. And then they're like, "Oh no, wait, you're actually the only one we got to get left." And like they pulled me to the table, and they were running behind because they forgot that they had to shoot my close up. And I was like, "Oh sweet," but the PA's like yelling, dude. She's like, "We need a wrap, we need a wrap." Like, "Oh, this is where we're going. This is where." I was like, "Hey, no." I was like, "Don't do that. Don't yell at me like that anymore. You're really not helping at all. Anybody." It's like, you need to just talk to me calmly. And my name's Ben, not number 7. That's the kind of shit I do now. Like, I'm like, hey, don't yell at me. Doesn't help my process. It actually is very distracting. I understand that you're behind, but that's not my fault that we're behind. That's because you forgot to do some stuff. So take it out on whoever you need to, but you're affecting my performance. So if someone's getting in the way, even like the guy on Loki, like they didn't care about me. So they gave me this helmet that was like way too tight, and it was like pressing my head, and I was like, getting a headache. But I was like, I don't know what to do because I don't know who to talk to. So now I'm like, this is not going to work.
Right.
Like, who's props? Let's get props. Like, because this helmet is like 3 sizes too small. So it's like confidence, man. It changes everything.
Hey, are you a parent of a young actor? Then you're going to want to pay attention to this because Get Scene Studios has what we call our Rising Star program. This program is incredible. It is a monthly program that puts you in front of an industry pro every single month and focuses on what a young actor needs to be focusing on, which is auditions. So every single month, we focus on either theatrical auditions or commercial auditions so they can be set up for success when they get an agent, or if they already have an agent, to really succeed at these auditions and even begin to make money at this. So we bring in different industry pros every single month and agents and casting directors, and then work on those auditions. So if this sounds like something that you would like to get your child or a friend that has a child involved in, all you need to do is email risingstar@getscenestudios.com, and we will let you try your first month for just $1 a class. That's right, only $1 a class. All you got to do is email us, and we will get you all set up. and ready to go to improve those auditions and then also get in front of those industry pros because we are Get Seen. Thanks for watching. It does. It does, man. Bro, the journey that you've had from like, I don't want to say not standing up for yourself, but like really truly standing up for yourself. And I think you bring up so many different, like, just perfect examples of things that happen on set, of like the helmet being too small to somebody yelling or someone not calling you by your name, or, you know, everyone's going through their own thing. And I don't think anyone intentionally is trying to upset you or upset me on set, right?
No.
But it's up to me, it's up to you to stop them from upsetting
But
you.
they don't know they're upsetting
Right, exactly.
you. Yeah,
that's why I'm like, that's why it's up to us. We can continue to just be mad at them for treating us that way, but that's why it's like, hey, what you're doing is not cool. I'm not good with it. It's not helping anything. Like, dude, it's such a beautiful example and so simple, but like, somebody else could be going home being like, this PA did this, and so infester it and be so upset about it, when it's like, really, it's about standing up for yourself and knowing what's going to make you feel good and serve you, and like ask for it essentially.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one in front of the camera. So it's like, if you don't feel good, it's going to show on camera. So I'm like, it's a team sport. You just got to make sure everyone's on the same page and it's not a hostile environment, because it doesn't work good for anybody.
No. Dude, so dope. I mean, I feel like we could just go down your resume and hear a dope story, but I think we got to get to our spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong.
Okay.
Question number 1 is, what's something you're super grateful for today?
Man, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is my team that I built. I have an agent in LA. I have a manager in LA. And then most importantly, I'm super grateful for Jason, man, because I think it's rare to have someone who believes in you as much as you do.
Or more.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm a pretty confident guy, but he's confident in me. And I was like, and I know, like, there's never going to be a day where I'm asking him, like, hey, bro, like, did you think of me for this? Did you think of me for that? Because I know he's thinking and he's doing everything he can do. So, like, to have someone like that is good. And, like, Kelly and Madison are all great. And just the team that I've built, man, I don't have to worry about anything. And I know, like, that's what I'm saying, like, I know something's coming. So I'm not, like, scarcity mindset. And I also trust that, like, God takes care of me. Like, every time I get close to needing anything, something happens.
Yeah.
But the key to that is to also, like, for, like, the attraction or whatever they say, like, the key to attraction is to not make it all about you, right? Like, you got to be like, when I say I want to win now, I'm like, I don't have a specific thing that I want, but I'm like, I want to be a main character, and I want my team and everyone else to win from that. Like, the production, I want the show to be good that I'm on and me to do well for them. I want me to make my people money, and I want to do a good job for myself. So you got to, like, share the love, and I think that opens up more attraction than just, like, everything for you, you know?
Yeah. You know, I want to just stay here for a quick second, because you talk about being grateful for the team, you know, and you know, we've been friends for a long time, so I know this about you. Is like, you didn't necessarily always have this team that you absolutely loved, right? There's different agents that you grow with and then eventually have to leave. Like, I don't want people to get stuck in the, like, you know, I just have to go get this one agent and they change everything. Like, you had a whole process, a whole journey of, like, working with different agents and doing well and booking, but, like, understanding you need a different relation. Like, how did you go through the different agents and find yourself to being so grateful for the team you have now?
Well, a lot of it is, you know, confidence. And, like, you know, like, I started out with boutiques agencies, you know, which is a great way to start, and, like, nothing against them. But, like, at some point you outgrow some people. And, like, I was like, I'm not achieving it's not even like I'm not getting auditions, but it's like, this is, I'm going, when you see yourself going beyond what they can do, then it's time to move on. Same thing with it, you know, like acting teacher, like once you get what you need, or if you're not growing anymore, you got to go. It's like anything creative. Like once you stop growing, and there's no reason to stick around, dude, because you're just plateauing. So like if I felt plateauing, like I'm going to move on. And then I remember the agency I was with before, Jason, was like, you're never going to be on Walking Dead because you're too clean cut. And I was like, you know, there's things called hair and makeup, right? Like prosthetics.
Dude, I remember this story. This story was crazy.
Yeah, and then I was like, that was kind of shitty, man. I was like, I don't want anyone to like think I can't do something, because I can do a lot. Like there's prosthetics, wigs, you can change your look. And so that rubbed me the wrong way. So then I had a meeting with Jason and signed with Jason and left the other agency, and then I was there for 3 days and booked Walking Dead. And then I was like,
crazy.
This guy has an open vision. Like he's not narrow-minded. He can see that I can fit a wide range of characters, not just limited by my look, like a white, clean-looking guy who can only play jock. Like, no, that's one thing I can play. But then I also have, like, I've been training and learning, and I have tools that I can do so much more. And Jason, like, sees and knows the potential, because he also sees all the bookings and the work.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, dude, that Walking Dead story is the most bonkers
I know, dude. It was like
ever. So
instant
good.
validation, man. I was like,
dude, instant.
Yeah. I was like, because, you know, I mean, they're not your first agent. You got to make, when there's when you never want to be like stagnant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel stagnant in anything, you got to go.
Yep. You got to take action. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Question 2 is, what is a book, TV show, or movie that changed the trajectory of your career?
Man, I like the gritty stuff, you know, like I always wanted to, like, you know, I talked about this too, but like do like heist, like The Town kind of thing.
Dude, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, where it's like gritty on the streets. It's like a brotherhood. But then there's also like the emotional parts and like the action parts.
4 Brothers.
Yeah, 4 Brothers, all that kind of stuff, man. I just want to be like, and this is another thing I was thinking about on the way over here, man. I was like, I'll do like the Hallmark stuff, but I don't want to. I don't like it. like, I'll do it, but it's not like, I was thinking, I was like, you know what, like back in the day, because I saw some of the questions about modeling. I was like, back in the day, like, you know, you got to do stuff for money. And I'm like, that kind of doesn't change. Like, acting is great, and I love acting, but like, for me, there's certain jobs that are about the money. And like, if I'm not doing what I want to do, I'll still do it because it's my job. But my passion is to do like action, drama, gritty, gangster shit.
Yeah. No, I love that you brought that up, because I think some actors need to hear that, you know, and yeah, I know we didn't get to the, dude, you're dropping too many other gems for me to get to the modeling stuff. You know, but Ben started as a model, and, you know, and I think I like that you brought up that it's like, yeah, maybe you're doing some shit you like don't want to do, but it's like, if you want to like be successful in this business, like sometimes you're doing stuff that you don't want to do. Like it just kind of is what it is. Like that's every job, isn't it? And trust me, it could be worse things than you doing like a Hallmark movie, right?
Yeah,
like
where you have to kiss a beautiful girl.
Yeah. Ah, damn it.
Yeah, it's a tough day. Yeah. But man, it is a job. It's a job, you know, like where we are, you don't get to, like, to be honest, we don't get to choose what we do for the most part. They choose what we do. They choose what we do after the audition goes out.
The opportunities come our way, and we take all of them, and then, you know, hopefully one of them hits. And
hopefully it's the one you want, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah, yeah. What is something in your daily routine that you really cherish?
The routine that I do now it's pretty simple, but I wake up, and then the first thing I do is meditate with gratitude. So I'm just like thinking 5 minutes, set the alarm 5 minutes, do like gratitude, man. And just, I have like a color associated with it. It's like orange or whatever. So I breathe in like orange and I think about all the things I'm thankful for, like, you know, everyday stuff. And then once that's up, I do 5 minutes of like professional career meditation where I'm like, my main character energy. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna bring through the day. Breathe in my blue, which is my main character. So I kind of like start my day with that energy. And then I really enjoy, after that I go to the gym. I really enjoy the fitness, staying healthy and stuff. And then I also read every day, but I'll read out loud.
Oh, really?
So I read alone, but I read out loud.
Yeah.
So like a long time ago, I would have like hard, like memorizing other people's words. That would be hard for me sometimes if it was a character I wasn't familiar with the language. And so I was like, man, what would really help is if I read my books out loud, and it gets me used to saying other people's writing.
Right.
And now I can pick it up so much easier because I'm used to saying how other people talk because I'm reading all these books, usually with words. Some of the words I don't know. I'm like, oh, let's look that word up. And then your vocabulary grows. But if you're not physically saying it like out loud when you're reading it, it's easy to like skip through it.
Yeah.
And I really focus on like the pronunciation and like my tone of voice, like practicing all these different things while you read has been a cool tool for me.
Dope. Yeah, I love that. I think that's cool. What's something that you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
I think like career wise, everything is going how I want it to go. I got some personal stuff I gotta work on, but I don't know if I want to expose all that right now. But I'm just trying to get mentally stronger. I'm still working with my coach every week. But I think work ethic and all that stuff, I think I'm pretty good. I'm confident. I think
you're pretty locked in.
Everything is good. Everything is good, to be honest, man. Other than like family stuff.
Well, yeah, we don't need to go over the family stuff.
Yeah, but like career wise, I'm doing good, man.
Yeah.
Like,
all right. Well, we're sending the VanderMeys love.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, last question, man, to wrap up here. We went over a lot of really dope stuff, man. But if we wanted the listeners, the viewers, to get one thing for sure, it could be a repeat of something we went over, or it could be something that maybe we missed. What would you want them to get?
This is kind of, I don't know how this is gonna go, but one of my big things that has helped me is it's on my mirror. I like work in silence, so I don't talk, post, or I think about this, man. Like I was in California doing a movie, and like, I go to the beach with my friends, and I'm like, this is such a cool view, and I'm like taking a picture, and I'm like, he's not taking any pictures because he lives there. That's what I'm saying. Like, so like when you work in silence, it's similar. Like I go to set and I'm not taking pictures. I'm not doing shit. I'm doing my job because that's where I belong. Because I'm there. I'm there enough. And when you're on a set taking pictures and like posting of like, this is not a bad thing. This is an observation I've made. It's like, when you're like day one, like it looks like you're a foreigner to it. It looks like it's like, those people now that go in the gym and make a video and then go home. It's like, hey, I did my workout. They didn't even work out. Yeah. But it's like the guys who are in the gym every day grinding don't take videos unless they have a YouTube channel that they're promoting. But like, act like you've been there. And then it's like work in silence. So the way I post or whatever now is like, first of all, I don't tell people about my stuff very often because, most of my stuff is supporting. And, I could work all this time, and then when they see the movie, I'm not even in the fucking movie. So I'm not going to like, my thing is let other people advertise for you. So like, hey, Ben, I saw you in this, and like tag you. Then like maybe I'll reshare that. So I'm not like self-promoting. I'm like, I have other people coming to me instead of trying to push my stuff on other people. And I felt like that's cool because, dude, people aren't happy. Not a lot of people aren't happy for you. And then, like, even family, man, it can be hard. Like, you know, you're excited about this thing, and then people see it, and then they're like, oh, I thought it was going to be a bigger part. And, like, that wasn't very, I mean, that was, do you have more? Are you in later in the movie? Be like, no. And then that just fucking kills you, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather not say anything and just, you know, just get everything instead of pushing, just let things come my way. And it's been a lot easier, man, because when you push something on people and you're excited about it and then it doesn't come out the way you want it, it can hurt.
Yeah.
And I've seen people, man, I've been to movie theaters where like we packed out rows for people and then they're not even in the movie and they're like ashamed and it's embarrassing. And so like the reality is like that's why everything you got to do is just go in there being the main character, stick up for yourself, be confident, and know what you're doing, and then move on and be grateful for work. But don't. 'Cause it's just like like you said, even like I do it too. When I see someone post on Instagram, you're like, oh, I book series regular. Your instant thing is like, fuck that guy. Because you're like, because especially last year, like things are so slow. There's not a lot to go around. Like there's not enough food to feed everybody, especially last year. Like even agents are hurting, you know what I mean? Like nobody's got enough. And so it's like when there's scarcity too, like you got to be careful because a lot of people aren't happy for you. And that can also be like a negative impact. But if you work in silence,
energy. Yeah.
But if you don't let people know your next move, sometimes it's a lot more peaceful. Just less likes.
Yep. Dude, fucking fire, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking fire. Dude, Ben, thank you so much for being here, man. Being vulnerable, opening up. It was really a pleasure to talk to you, man.
You too, man. Thanks for having me.
Everyone, if you enjoyed this episode, pass it on to a friend right now. Make sure to comment, leave us a review. We'd love to know how the show, maybe this episode in particular, has impacted you. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can hit all the episodes that are coming your way. Thanks again for being here. This is Scene Unscripted. I'm Jesse Malinowski. We'll talk soon.